It says, to mark an outstanding contribution to paediatric surgery. It's got the saying of Denis Browne, the aim of paediatric surgery is to set a standard, not to seek a monopoly. The past recipients of this award I've listed in this year's programme, and at least 5 of them are in the audience today. It gives me very great pleasure to present this year's Denis Browne Award to Adrian Bianchi. Adrian's name is well known to all of you, and I'm sure that you'll agree that he's the most worthy recipient of this year's award. Adrian, who comes from Malta, was consultant paediatric surgeon in Manchester from 1984 until his retirement in 2010. His name is well known throughout the paediatric surgical world and beyond for his innovative techniques and his concern for aesthetics. His technique for intestinal lengthening is performed throughout the world, and his desire to ensure that surgical paediatrics should be performed with minimal scarring predated much of the minimal access surgery that some of us try to do today. He's a motivational figure who had inspired paediatric surgeons from all over the world. What sets him apart is his passion for paediatric surgery and his constant quest for improving the standard of care for children. He's an original thinker, philosopher. He challenges existing surgical dogma, sometimes to the annoyance of others, but he usually succeeds. He's an outstanding technical surgeon, and he did think about taking up laparoscopy. He attended a laparoscopic course back quite some years ago. You can see him standing on the left at the back of the picture. It is quite some years ago because I'm looking a lot younger. I was on the faculty with Klaus Bax and Alfred Koshiri and Jeff Valler, who gave this morning's lecture. You may even recognise 1 or 2 other prestigious paediatric surgeons who came to learn on that course, including our past president, David Drake. Adrian tells me that he would have been very keen to adopt these techniques had he been at an earlier stage in his career. I recently spent a few days with him in Sudan, where I was able to witness his great technical ability firsthand, and we had a very enjoyable few days together. And Adrian's the one in the red cap, happily enjoying a trip up the Nile to see the confluence of the Blue and the White Nile. But of course, behind every successful man, there's always a woman who's driving him. And here is Adrian with his wife Claire and his children and grandchildren. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to award this year's Denis Browne Gold Medal to Adrian Bianchi. Adrian.
Well, if everyone was feeling nervous and embarrassed, this is the moment. Thank you very much, Gordon. Mr. President, perhaps is what I should say. I should like also to take a few minutes of your time. I know you're all hungry, so I won't go on too long. To thank also the PAPS executive and, most importantly, all my dear friends and colleagues who have been instrumental in awarding me this singular honor. As in situations such as these, I guess it's always a time where one looks back over one's life. And as you've heard, I was born on a little island in the Mediterranean, in Malta, and to this day I remain a very proud citizen. even prouder of the Maltese heritage for sustained, fine, hard work and equally well sustained repose. For my adoptive country, I have a great sense of gratitude for the education and the opportunities provided me and now my family as well. Now, every structure requires good support, and so any career depends on the support that it receives from many, many people, many friends, many colleagues, and sometimes people who are not so friendly as well. But anyway, and amongst those there are perhaps keystones that hold the structure together. And so, to my parents, who believed in me, have always believed in me, despite my efforts to the contrary, and believe me, there were many of those. I have to tell you that at 88, my father is 88, my mother's 84, you have fulfilled one of their dearest dreams today. Of my early education in Malta, there's a lot to say, but I just pick out one individual who taught me a very key issue in life, and that is to be tolerant of others in adversity, but yet at the same time to persist in one's beliefs as long as one feels that they are the correct way. And I have followed these principles all these years, and they have never let me down. And so on to Liverpool, where Professor Sir Robert Shields and Professor Alfred Kushiri and Mr. David Annis very painstakingly converted what was a budding cardiologist, because that is what I came to England to do, into a surgeon. And then on to All the Hay Children's Hospital, where Richard Cook and Roger Cutmore gave me a very safe grounding in paediatric surgery, which again I have never broken and always followed. And particularly a love for paediatric and neonatal surgery. And Herbie Johnston, bless his soul, for those of you who might remember him, opened the window into paediatric urology. But most importantly, he taught me how to listen to children, to hear, to listen to what they were saying, and to earn the children's trust, never to tell a lie to a child, never to try to fool them, to tell them the truth. And then in '77 on to plastic surgery in Manchester, where John Lendrum introduced me into the surgery of clefts, which I practiced for 20 years. But more importantly, introduced me and showed me the psychology of families and children with facial anomaly. And that was something that became incorporated within my approach to surgery. And Clive Wharton, his colleague, who opened up a brand new and beautiful world of aesthetic surgery, and set me on my way along that path. And Stuart Watson, who at that time, with the innovation then was the microscope, introduced me to a totally new world of microvascular surgery. And then within paediatric surgery in Manchester, Joe Cohen continued my development in paediatric urology. I owe a debt also to Caroline Doyle for in the early years for facilitating my work in the laboratory into the viral lengthening procedure, which I've so enjoyed all these years. But before everyone else pays, before Ambrose Jollies. Ambrose Jollies was the first paediatric surgeon for Manchester. He was a past Pax president as well. He was my predecessor and became a second father to me. He taught me how to practice good and excellent surgery, careful surgery, to think of the children. But most importantly, he taught me by his example more than anything else, how to always be honest and always to do things with integrity, even if it cost you a climb down with something perhaps that you did not know so much about. And then there are very many special colleagues. You see here David Goff, who was a colleague for 25 years, unfortunately now no longer with us, and my dear friend Wilson, and Supru Naika, who is here today with us, who welcomed me in greatly troubled times in my later years, in my later career. Welcomed me amongst them in paediatric urology. And in paediatric surgery, my young friend Antonino Maralto, who has taken up the burden now and who keeps alive my short bowel dreams. And to all my friends and colleagues abroad, perhaps represented here by Professor Mario Messina, who is, and his team, who is among you in the audience. Grazie Mario per la tua amicizia sincera. And then the supportive anaesthetists, without them you can't do a thing as a surgeon. And the other patient nursing staff, who endured my own ideas and my controversial practices. But perhaps most importantly for me, and these ones I never forget, the children who died, from whom I learned so much, that others should live, and who taught me how to really care. As I come to the end, I won't keep you very much longer. I just want to pass a couple of little comments. When God was handing out brains, and it came to my turn, there were only odd ones left. Very antisocial ones, and very irritating ones. And this has been a singular pain to my dear wife, who has had to put up with it all these years. And so, Claire, I'm sorry, I get a bit emotional. For the years of frustration, constant support, and for our family that you brought up, that are attributed to you. This is really your day, not mine. And so, as I head back to my retirement, I have to tell you, happy retirement. I would like, however, to end with one last comment, which is perhaps more serious, and one that has been gnawing at my heart for a very long time. It's like a dagger to my heart. In recent years in England, we have been told and encouraged forcefully to practice only evidence-based medicine. And sure enough, the idea is that this is for maximum patient safety. And for those who choose that sort of life, it can certainly lead to a very nice, controlled life. But if you ask the patient and you listen to the patient doesn't want you to give him a nice life. What he asks for is the best that you know and the best that you can do for him. Whatever else is the protocol. I have always believed that as paediatric surgeons, we are specialist surgeons. And we have a duty towards the children and their families, so that with diligence, audit, sharing of information, as is happening here today, we actually create the evidence on which to base. And that is our most important role. So that with the guiding hand of God behind you, you also one day may receive this ultimate honor, the Denis Browne Medal. Thank you very much, and may your God go with you.